So another importance of water resource to man is that it serves as a recreation or tourism. People swim and people go to beaches, all because of the availability of water resources. They go into these places to catch fun, to relax, and some of them for tourism. And we also have sources of minerals. Some vital minerals are found in water. And finally, we have sources of ornaments. Corals are sources of ornaments used for beautification of houses, or also have in cases where they are used for making of beads and the likes. So these are some of the importance of water resources to man. Even the crabs and there's a way where periwinkle, the shell of periwinkles are used for design of houses and beautifying of the place. So the third type of environmental resource we're going to be looking at is the vegetation resources. Vegetation resources. Now, the vegetation resources, this includes all the resources that one could get or acquire from the forest and savanna for the benefit of man, animals, and plants. Now, vegetation resources includes timber, roots, leaves, barks of trees, latex, fruit, fiber, firewood, and wild animals. And just like water resources, the vegetation resources have immense importance to mankind. Now, one of such importance include serving as source of food supply. The wild animal hunted by hunters provide meat for man, and some vegetables and some leaves are also sources of food for man. The vegetation resource also supplies timber. Timber, which is usually cut down from the forest by the lumbermen, useful for furniture making, for construction, for roofing of houses, and there's also another importance here which has to do with medicinal herbs. Some roots, some leaves, and some bark of trees serve as very important and potent herbs for medical purposes. We also have sources of firewood. Firewood mostly used for cooking activities. There are some cases where large scale of food has to be cooked, and maybe gas may not be very optimal in this case, so we employ firewood. So vegetation resources supply serve as a source of firewood. Vegetation resources also develops game reserves, like the Yankari Game Reserve, and there is provision of employment. So many persons have earned employment as a result of the availability of vegetation resources. Some are employed as game reserve officials. Some are employed as forestry officials, and will take care of lumbering activities within a given state or a country. So all these are some importance of the vegetation resources. We also have prevention of erosion. Felling of trees, bush burning, and activities like these encourages erosion. But where we have the presence of these trees, you discover that the rate of erosion is drastically reduced or prevented. So this is also an important of vegetation resources in our environment. And lastly, it serves as tourism. Like the game reserve, people can go around, look at the various wild animals, and species of trees for further studies and learning. So these are some importance of vegetation resources. So let's look at the next type of environmental resources that we have. And we have the mineral resources. Here, mineral resources here, unlike other types of resources in the environment, are non-renewable. And what do we mean by non-renewable? This is because they cannot be recovered once they are exhausted. And they are usually grouped as follows. We have the mineral fuels, which include resources like the petroleum, coal, and natural gas. We also have some ferrous and non-ferrous metals like iron, copper, tin, columbite, aluminium, lead, and zinc. We have industrial resources like gold, limestone, silver, platinum, mercury, diamond, graphite. And finally, we have the ornamental minerals like gold, silver, and diamond. And all these minerals are of immense importance to man. And we'll be looking at few or some of these importance. One, mineral resources serve as a source of fuel. The coal, the petroleum are used to power our machines and other vehicles to aid locomotion and other activities. Now, they are also important in construction purposes. Example, limestone, which is essential raw material for the manufacturing of of cement, and zinc, also very important for producing roofing sheets that are used for roofing houses. I also have sources of ornamentals. The gold, platinum, diamond, and the rest are very important for making jewelries, which serve as ornamentals. Now we also have sources of foreign exchange. A country that is blessed with a particular mineral resource can decide to sell or export these resources to other parts of the country or the world that do not have, and in turn make money for herself. So mineral resources also serve as a source of foreign exchange. And we also have the provision of employment. The miners, the drillers, and those in the industry that convert these raw materials to finished products, and employment as a result of availability of these mineral resources. There is provision of raw materials for industries, like we mentioned earlier, raw materials like limestone, like diamond, which are used for manufacturing or for producing so many useful products for the benefit of man. Now there's what we call human resources. Human resources here has to do with human beings. Man organizes all other resources in the environment in order to achieve optimum benefits. The ability of man to make the best use out of these resources is a function of some factors, which include the level of education of that man, the technology, and the culture. So let's look at some factors which determine the size of human resources in any given economy. Number one factor is natality. Natality has to do with birth rates, the rate at which children are being born into a particular country. So the higher the natality rate or the birth rates, the higher or the greater the size of the human resource of that particular country. And we also have mortality rates. Mortality has to do with the death rate, number of persons dying or that die in a country per time. So if we have high death rates, definitely the size of the human resources in that country will be small. Also have migration, movement of people out of the country, and in a case also where people have to be moving into a particular country. All these contribute to the size of the human resource. When the migration rate is high, so that people are leaving the country, we discover that the size of the human resource in that region will reduce or will become small. The level of fertility also enhances or also determines the size of human resources. There's medical facilities. If we have adequate and functional medical facilities in a given country or a given location, you discover that the health challenges or ailments of the people in that area will be taken care of, and this will enhance the size of the human resources in this area. Education is also very important. Where you have well-trained people, scientists, and people with great level of technology in a particular country, the size of the human resource in that area or that country will be great, and political stability. In a country that is politically unstable, there obviously will be a small size of the human resources in that area. So what are some of the importance of human resources? Human resources, supply labor. And labor has to do with the people, available and capable people to carry out some industrial works, academic works, and other type of activities